issue of the cost of smart cities. Let me put it up to you that we as in Cyber City are a 50-hectare development in a smart city development of 15,400 hectares. So the new Mount Hamden City it's a new development which is coming in as a smart city. So from that point of view, what I do know from a town planning point of view, and having looked at the actual plan that has been laid out for the new Mount Hamden City, I do know that there are affordable, there is affordable housing. It's just that I guess one has to understand that Cyber City is a private development, and as such the investor is free to determine which target market he is aiming for and developing for. However, we are looking and working with the new Mount Hamden City Board to try and make sure that we do have affordable housing. As some of you may or may not know, we have a housing deficit of more than 2 million in Harare alone. So the need to cater for some of that deficit within the new Mount Hamden City is real, because the people that are going to build the new Mount Hamden City must reside in new Mount Hamden City if it is going to be cost efficient. So I hope that answers your question. But just to add on to the issue, the question that you asked in terms of the building of renewable energies, you see smart cities are self-sustaining on a variety of levels, from the issue of using technology to improve the lives of the inhabitants of those cities. So that cuts across all sorts of things, from waste management, reticulation of water, or the utilities that are actually being used. We must be able to measure what utilities are being used and whether we're using technology to the best advantage of the inhabitants of the city. And you believe it or not, I have been approached as the CEO of Cyber City, because that is the only development that people are familiar with. But I've been approached by more than 10 external companies that are willing to come and put in infrastructure in the city on a build, operate, and transfer basis. So the money is actually there. That's why right at the beginning you heard me say money follows opportunities, right? So a lot of the things that we are concerned about in terms of how we're going to fund them, the funding is actually there. There are companies internationally that are interested in bringing in waste management systems. So for instance, where we would normally say the minimum subdivision where you cannot plug into a city sewer line is a subdivision of 2,000 square meters. Now we have systems that can recycle, can process your waste, recycle equivalent of a drum in terms of the space that they actually occupy. And they will recycle 95% of the water that you use for other uses other than human consumption, right? Instead of the septic tanks with the soakaway that you will be required to put into place, which necessitate the 2,000 square meter subdivision in order for you to get a permit. So what am I saying? I go back to the issue of legislation. Does legislation allow me to come in as a developer and put in a drum so that I can densify? So instead of putting 2,000 square meters as an application for a subdivision, I can reduce that to the minimum of 500, but put systems that are able to manage the waste in such a way that we can be more efficient instead of just soaking away the waste. Now we can actually recycle it and reuse it for your gardening, for everything else. But those things are available, and the funding is available. There are companies that are willing to come in and do it. The issue of recapacitating what I call communal water sources, right, as opposed to individual water sources that we have all been resorting to, which is the drilling of boreholes. There are companies that are willing to come in and do all that work, but we operate in a restrictive framework, and that framework ensures that any investor who's willing to put their money into whatever infrastructure that we need is unwilling, because they're not assured that they can collect revenue to cover their expense and to make money from their investment.
Thank you so much, Tendai, for that comprehensive response.